Hope your week is off to a great start, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Rams Revealed. Looking forward to seeing you at SoFi Stadium for back-to-back home games against the Colts and the Niners in a span of 5 days. Well, as we found out the hard way in Philadelphia in Week 3, wins and losses often determined in the NFL by the kicking game, and that's why we chose this week to sit down with a special teams ace for your Los Angeles Rams, Xavier. Coming back from Philadelphia, how you feeling?
I feel good. A little disappointed, a little upset, but overall I feel good. Body's healthy, so just ready to really get back to work.
I think we all feel that disappointment, especially for you, as I wish you a happy belated birthday. I would have loved to have had a 3-0 start be part of your celebration.
That really would have been the best part of the birthday celebration, getting that win.
What's it like to play on your birthday? Although I'm sure you're used to it as a lifelong football player in the fall.
It's special because, I get to do what I love, what I dreamed of since I was 4 years old. I get to do that on my birthday. So, for me, it always been special. And each year I got a chance to play on my birthday, it was always successful. So,
well, wishing you all the best in your 29th year. Week 3 of next season, I want to get a dub on your birthday.
Yeah, we gonna make sure that happens.
Fortunately and unfortunately, I think it's the perfect week to have a special teams ace with us on the show. Because when you look back at that loss to Philadelphia, that game was won and lost in the kicking game. So Tell us about the third phase and the impact you think it had in the outcome against the Eagles.
I think that's, one of the most important phases of the game, honestly, just because that's the first phase that takes the field. Each and every game, you got to kick it off. So, a lot of times the games are won and lost in the special team phase of the game, whether people realize it or not, where, you make those plays on that phase of the game. Sometimes that's the turning point to give you that momentum or just seal a win when it's a close game like we had last night.
Before we zoom in on your role as the punt returner, which I think is how Rams fans know you primarily, what are some of the other kicking teams that you're a part of?
I'm on the kickoff, and then I'm also on the punt phase as well.
We've seen you get some tackles. You're not just a return man, but that is kind of your claim to fame so far in your NFL career. How does one become a punt returner? Like, where in your journey did that become part of your arsenal?
Honestly, I used to do it when I was younger because, like they want to put one of the best athletes back there for them to kick it. So, honestly, I did it when I was younger, and then I never really did it much in college. So, my first real opportunities being an actual punt returner is when I came to the Rams.
Unbelievable. We'll talk about one of those first moments a little bit later on in this show, but it kind of leads to my next question, which is punt returning something that you or people like you dream of and really relish and look forward to, or is it a role that you play to earn your keep on an NFL roster?
Both. Honestly, both. Because, when I'm at punt return, that's me being in my moment, being in my element, and, I'm able to just be free and be back there and kind of play the game how I kind of want to play it. So, honestly, it's to keep the roster spot, but for me, it's just an opportunity to be free and showcase my abilities.
What are some of the keys to doing it at an elite level?
Just trusting the guys, blocking in front of you, trusting those 10 guys to, do their job. And because I'm looking up and I can't really see those guys coming. So it's really just having my trust in those 10 guys in front of me and allowing them to create lanes for me to do what I do best.
You're not kidding. I mean, I'm getting uncomfortable just hearing you describe it, to be basically all alone in a 70,000 seat stadium and having 240-pound linebackers bearing down on you while you got to catch that football.
Yeah.
That's daunting.
Yeah. And so for me, it's just like being confident as well, knowing the work that I put in throughout the week, and then, having that connection with those guys in front of me.
One other thing, kick return is a lot different than punt return.
Definitely.
I get it. But can you empathize with those Eagles returners from Week 3 who are just having nightmares over Karty's knuckleballs?
We've been practicing that, and we've been working on that since back in OTAs, and we knew that was going to be a key to how successful we be in the kicking game. So, it's been working so far, and we definitely plan to keep that going throughout the rest of this season.
One of the other things I liked came from pregame. I just want to take our audience behind the scenes a little bit. I was walking the field and I saw you reconnecting with Britain Covey.
Yeah.
And I loved that because it
Yeah.
made me think, I wonder how Xavier felt having the Rams bring in a challenger, so to speak, to your
Right.
role on this team.
Right.
But it seemed like you bonded.
Yeah.
Tell me about that relationship and how it formed in just one summer.
Just like healthy competition, we know why he was here, and we both knew, we was competing for that spot, but it didn't affect the relationship that we could build throughout the process of competing. Like, just healthy competition, knowing that we both looking to have a spot on this roster. So, we both was giving each other tips, and we both was just kind of connecting on the wide receiver end, but also on the punt return end as well. So it was basically just, embracing that competition and getting the best out of each other, and, the results, yeah.
Speak for themselves.
Yeah.
You earned it. You really did. And it makes me think there's only like 30, 40, 50 people in your seats in the entire world that know what that's like to compete for that role in that spot.
Right.
For those who don't know, Britton's back on the practice squad with the Eagles. He's been one of the greats at that spot for a couple of years. Your next opponent is interesting, Indianapolis. Did you know the Colts did not punt on their first 20 drives this season?
I haven't.
They're the first team in the Super Bowl era not to punt in the first 2 games of the season. So all that to say, when you go to work this week, there's not going to be a lot of film
Right.
on the Colts punting team. So you're going to have to dig deep and do your homework.
Definitely got to go probably to prior seasons, or if that punter wasn't there, then, wherever he was last year to kind of get those.
3 punts in 3 games, the fewest for an NFL team since 1940. But anyways, that's not why we're here. We're here to learn more about you and your personal journey. Tell us about Haines City, Florida, where you grew up.
Just a small town in Polk County, Florida. It's not much there. And, football is kind of that outlet for most, or basketball or some type of sport. So, just a small town where everybody kind of knows everybody, and,
Between 2 metro areas, though, right? Tampa and Orlando.
Between Tampa. Maybe like 45 from Tampa. Maybe like 30 from Orlando.
And Derwin James is from that area.
Yes. Me and him, we grew up together, honestly. His dad was my coach at one point in time, and he always played with my older brother. He was always 1 to 2 years older than me, so him and my brother, they always played together. But we grew up since we was young, playing for the same little league team, and then getting a chance to play with each other in high school.
And in those days, you were a running back?
Yes.
What kind of running back were you?
Scat back. Something like a Dalvin Cook or something like that,
Had the receiving ability all the way through?
Yeah, but I never really played receiver, honestly, until I got to FAMU. So I knew I could catch, but I just wanted the ball in my hands. So that's why I always wanted to play running back.
It wasn't a straight line to FAMU, though, was it?
Nah.
No offers coming out of high school?
Nah.
What do you attribute that to?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, if I'm being quite honestly, I really don't know, because I feel like I was producing, and it could have been circumstances, it could have been situations that was, out of my control, but, that's something that I couldn't control at that time.
So what were some of the lengths that you went to get the attention of coaches?
Honestly, I emailed a lot of coaches. I went on Twitter. I was DMing a lot of coaches, just going through every team. And I would find the running back coach, the receiver coach, and then the head coach, and I would just type the same email up each and every time, just hoping to get a response. I never got a response, but it's all good.
So you're just like coach's first name, coach's second name at college.edu and hoping that you got something?
Yeah.
And no responses?
Never.
Unbelievable. So then what? You just move on with life?
That was the plan, honestly. I started working at Amazon, and at that time I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of done with football, and maybe that's not what's in store for me. So I started working at Amazon, working with a lot of guys around the neighborhood. So it was like, that's what everybody was doing. So it's like, I'm gonna just do this, and Yeah, I was kind of just like, yeah, I'm done with football. I'm not going to college. It was people telling me to go to college, but in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm good.
When you say done, is that heartbreaking done? Like, I can't believe this didn't work out? Or is that like, I've played football my whole life. I'm going to get on to something
Yeah,
else?
moving on to something else. Honestly, I was okay. Like deep down, I was good. I'm like, I'm done. You know, I didn't want to play.
It reminds me a little bit of Kobe Durant and his days working at FedEx. I don't know if that story has come across your radar, but there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah, we talked about it.
What did you learn from that period of time? Like before we get to FAMU, that what year or so?
Yeah.
Kind of living the real life.
Yeah.
What did you learn about yourself and the way the world works, and anything that's benefited you to this day?
I knew that ain't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So it just taught me a lot that you gotta be strong and you gotta be ready for whatever come within that life, regardless of, what you gotta do. And, at that time I was having to help my mom, but I really couldn't help her much because I'm only making 10, 11 an hour and I'm only working 4 hours a day. So, it wasn't much that I could do, but it kind of opened my eyes to reality that, it really ain't a game, and you gotta make a way or you gonna drown.
How did she help you reach the next step of your journey?
Just constantly pushing me to, do something. Constantly pushing me to go to college, and there was like a community college where I'm from. It's called Post State College. She used to always, tell me to go there, and I ain't gonna lie. I used to go there, and she would say register for classes. So I used to go there and act like I was trying to register for classes, but I really wasn't trying to. So I would just go there. I'd bring the papers back to just make it look like I'm trying to get into the school, but I really wasn't trying to get into school. So she just constantly started reaching out to people at FAMU that she knew in the admission office, and then they ended up sending me an email in return saying I didn't get accepted, but if I come and I pass the summer classes, I could go through the summer bridge program. I pass the summer classes, I'd be able to get admitted into school.
Just thinking you can juke safeties in the NFL. You can't juke mom.
Yeah.
Can't get past mom.
Yeah, mom, she knew what she was doing, and she was steadfast about making sure I was going to get into school somewhere.
So a lot of college athletes, walk-ons,
Right.
are what we call like preferred walk-ons.
Yeah.
They're people that coaches know about. Hey, we'd love to have you on the team. We only have this many dollars in resources and scholarships, but come get into school. We got a spot for you.
Right.
That wasn't how you became a FAMU walk-on. You had to go through summer school to qualify to try out on day one,
Yeah.
and you did.
Yeah.
You did have a little bit of an ace in the hole though, which is your older brother, right?
Right.
Tell us about him.
Man, he just like me. But, growing up, he always beat me in everything. So when people always try to ask, who was better, I always say it was him because, I could never beat him or nothing. But just, honestly, I'm learning the punt return game from him because that's what he did in college. He did a lot of punt returns. So, I go back and try to watch his highlights, see some of the things that he was doing, and I just try to bring it into my game. So.
And this is Kareem, right?
Yeah, Kareem.
And he's a senior for the Rattlers as you're trying to make your way as a freshman?
Yeah, that was his senior year, yeah.
So is he lobbying the coaches? Is he putting in a good word for you?
He definitely was in their ear. Like, give him a chance. And he gonna show y'all why he deserved to be here, so.
All right, so given that brief backstory that you just walked us through, what does it mean to get placed on scholarship then, just a year or two after you're earning $10, $11 an hour?
Yeah. It meant the world to me because I knew that I earned it. I knew that the way that I was working, I deserved it. So, it meant a lot. And it was just that first step to showing me that as long as I continue working, everything else will pay off for me.
By 2019, you have this game against Delaware State. I'm sure you remember it based on your smile. 9 catches, 184, and a school record, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to make a team, another to be placed on scholarship, but to be a guy or the guy, what are you thinking at that point in your college career?
I got a chance to do something special. And just knowing the guys who came before me at FAMU talking about guys like Jaquay Nunley, Kanan Lamb, Kevin Elliott, a guy who Jaquay Nunley broke all Jerry Rice records. So it's just like knowing that I did something that he wasn't able to do, it kind of gave me that sense of direction that, okay, I could take it to that next level and be, a guy and make plays at that next level as well.
I want to come back to that in just a second, but do you want to pause here and just talk about HBCU football and legacy and tradition and culture? Because I've been around it. I've had a chance to call some college games. I'm always just struck by how much it means to those. And hearing you recite that history, it must have sunk in with you too.
Yeah. Like, I grew up going to not the Orange Blossom Classic, but the Classic between Bethune and FAMU. And just that environment, the people, watching the bands come out and how people really connected with the football players, how people really connected with the bands and that culture. It was always something in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a part of. I just, like, even when I was young, I was like, I'm going to be on that field. And at that time, I really didn't know how big or how much it really meant. But I just knew, and I always felt that energy every time I was at the games, every time, we went on campus, even when my brother was in school. It was like, it just felt like home. It felt like a family. It felt like, this where I belong. And, it's always something that you really can't put into words. It's just that experience and, that vibe that you get from those around you that really makes you feel like, you belong in that environment.
And so in that way, you've already realized a dream by performing at that level and being a part of that. But by your senior year of 22, you're over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, HBCU All-American, All-SWAC. At what point, if at any point, are you thinking there might be a future beyond this? For a guy that didn't have any offers out of high school,
right,
I might play professional football.
It was honestly my freshman year. Towards the end of that season where I stacked up a couple of games, I had like 98 yards. Then I had 108 yards. Then the last game I had 136. And I was like, yeah, I could do this. And so going into that sophomore season where I ended with 1,000-yard season, I remember before that season I was in my dorm room with one of my roommates, and I told him, I was like, I'm about to take it to another level. And he kind of looked at me. He was like smiling, like you might, but I don't really know if you're going to do it for real. And I was telling him, like, I'm really about to take it to another level. And I'm about to make it from FAMU. I want to show people that, you can make it to the NFL from FAMU.
Your memory from 6, 7, 8 years ago, you might rival Sean McVay in your recall of your personal stats.
Yeah.
I wonder if you remember what you ran in the 40 back at your pro day auditions.
4.3.
So that's like top 10 combine time. You're not doing it in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Tell me about the story where you forgot your gloves.
So I was thinking they was gonna have gloves. They was gonna have all of that for us. So I honestly just left them at home. I'm like, they're gonna give us gloves, so I really won't need them. And when we get there, I'm looking around. I'm like, they ain't got no gloves for us. So at first, I'm asking guys, like, do they have an extra pair of gloves? Nobody had an extra pair of gloves. And then, I just was kind of like, you know what? I'm overreacting at this point. I spent my whole senior year practicing without gloves. So it was just like, I've been doing this since the beginning of this season. So, what other way to end the senior season with doing it how you started?
I mean, you shook that off better than I would. That sounds like nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
You finally get the chance to audition for all these NFL scouts and you forget the things that you wear on your hands to catch the footballs?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, I'm comfortable though.
Yeah.
Because, this is what I've been doing all the way up until this point. So, I trust them.
That's not why you weren't drafted, but we can chalk it up to that. Maybe if you had had the gloves that you wanted back then, you would have gone in the 6th or 7th round.
That could have been.
But it brings you here. You sign with the Rams as a college free agent. You spend that season on the practice squad. Waived again in August of 24. You start that season on the practice squad. What is life like on the squad for you? Do you consider it a grind, a trial, a privilege? Like, what did it feel like for more than a season to be on that level?
Probably all of the above. It's a grind, it's a trial, but it's also a blessing because I'm in a position that many people want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many people don't get the opportunity to even be on the practice squad or to even be in the NFL building. So, you know, that was never like the goal to be on the practice squad. It was always to be one of the best on the field. So it was that grind, knowing that I can't settle, I can't become comfortable because it's a higher place that I want to reach. So it was just using each and every day to get better until my opportunity came to where I could showcase that I'm ready.
You're close, but you're not all the way there yet.
Right.
Like, to be able to tell your kids or your grandkids someday that you played in the league,
Right.
you got to wait for that promotion.
Right.
And just about a year ago, it came.
Right.
What do you remember about that first day against the Niners?
I'm gonna be honest, I was a little nervous. I was nervous because it was like the dream was finally coming true. And then it was like you watch it all the time, but it's different being in it. And you know, just having that opportunity, I knew that I worked all the way up until that point. I knew that I was doing everything I could to be prepared. So when that moment came, I knew I was ready. And I was ready for it.
It was a 38-yard return to midfield. It led to the game-winning Karty field goal, and you get a game ball from the head coach in the locker room.
Yeah.
You got that somewhere special?
I still got it. It's put up. It's put up at my mom's house. She got it like sitting on this counter that she put all of like my trophies and my jerseys, stuff like that. She got a whole setup in the house, so it's still up there.
What level of validation was that to go back to where you were at the end of your prep career or where you were at FAMU believing that could be possible and your first touch in the league is worthy of a game winner and a game ball?
It was everything though, because you know I got a chance to show that I belong, and for me it was like I was just waiting on that moment to have that opportunity to show that I could play at this level. So, you know, I remember before that play, I always tell people, I told one of my teammates, he kick it to me, I'm about to win the game. So it was just like knowing that I was ready and knowing that, you know, I could play at this level and do, you know, do well at this level.
Give me chills, man. Well told. Let's relive a couple other milestone moments. And I don't often talk preseason football with people in your seat, but the 39-yard drop in the bucket from Stetson against the Cowboys this summer, that was part of the fending off Covey and kind of keeping your role. And I wonder what that meant to you to go out and not just do it on teams, but to do it on offense.
Just, you know, I always wanted to show that I could play receiver too. And me and Stetson, man, we built that connection even from the time when he first got here. He just throwing me little nuggets, just telling me like, yeah, you could play. And, you know, we just communicating on certain routes and understanding that, you know, I'm going to be where I need to be. You know, I'm going to put it up for you. All I need you to do is make a play. And I always tell him like, you know, just give me a chance. I'm going to make that play for you. And, you know, that's what he did.
I got to think moments like that give you the trust and confidence of your coaching staff to get the week one ball from QB1, a career-long 39-yard reception and a win. How about that one?
Yeah. And it's crazy because we connected on that play back in OTAs. The same play, the same type of situation on the sideline with the toe tap. So I just feel like that trust came at that moment, and then it was like a Thursday. And after the game, Matthew had told me this. He was like, I told the quarterback coach this ball going up the X on Sunday. And, you know, he said the coach kind of looked like, nah, you going to throw the dagger to Tutu. He was like, watch, this ball going up the X on Sunday. And, you know, it happened just like that because I was telling Jay Witt, I was telling Jay Witt, he going to throw me this pylon. And, like, we both was saying it in different rooms in different areas. And on that Sunday, it kind of just came into fruition.
I love that you call that out because OTAs, you know, around here we call it flag football, right?
Yeah.
You know, just football in shorts and T-shirts. And that, I think, undermines how important it is.
Right.
Whereas you're earning reps and confidence and targets from a future Hall of Fame quarterback because of a play you made out here in the spring.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
What's it like to go to work in a receiver room that at times during your Rams career has included Cooper Kupp and now Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams?
Man, it's a blessing. I'm lucky. I'm blessed because I'm in a room with probably 3 of the greatest receivers to ever lace it up in the NFL, and getting a chance to learn from them, but then also being able to, like I said, have that healthy competition where you see Devontae go out there and make a play, or you see Puka or Coop go out there and make a play. It's like, yeah, I gotta go make a play. It can't be a drop off when I get into the game. Like, I gotta rise to that occasion and rise to the level that they play at. So when it's my turn to get into the game, I gotta make the same plays that they making.
You're a Yarbinator.
Yeah.
You mount up pregame with the rest of them, don't you? How great is that?
That's probably one of the best feelings before the game, seeing that energy that even Coach Yards bring every day. But on Sunday is the energy that he brings before the game, where we all kind of getting our names called out. You know, you start feeling like that superhero that he's making you out to be. So,
X-Man, that's your superhero character?
Yeah,
we're going with that?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Are you into the Marvel universe or anything like that? Comic book space?
I'm in the X-Men.
Okay.
But
because of your name or just organically?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Do you have a favorite? I don't know anything about this world, so coach me up if you want.
I don't really know much,
Okay.
but the one that I watched multiple times was the Black Panther. So.
All right, but it is X-Man, even though it's Xavier, not Xavier. Do I
Yes.
have that right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I'm always a stickler for pronunciation, so I want to make sure I get that
I
right.
appreciate that, because most people always say Xavier, and you know, if my mom around, she gonna correct it. No, it's Xavier.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I kind of picked up on that where, you know, when people say Xavier, I kind of just be like, it's just Xavier.
We already learned on this show, you can't mess with mom, can't get one past her,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to try and get that wrong either. It seems like the natural next step, and maybe the only next step, is to carve out more role on offense.
Yeah.
It seems like you believe in yourself as a wide receiver more than just a special teams ace. Do you think that's in your NFL future?
Definitely. You know, how long it takes, that's out of my control, but eventually that day gonna come.
And then lastly, what do you like to do away from the facility? What else is there besides football in your life at age 28 now?
I'm a foodie, man. I like to eat. So I've been trying out a lot of places around, but I'm definitely a big foodie for sure.
Awesome. Well, I've been following you on social media. I see you got to Maui with the team, took advantage of Catalina Island here in Southern California. So I'm glad to see you enjoying this opportunity on and off the field.
Definitely, man. Catalina, I love it, though. I'm definitely going back this offseason.
Very cool. Wish you all the success here in 2025. It's been a privilege getting to know you. Thank you for sharing your story with our audience here on Rams Revealed.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you back at SoFi Stadium for 2 home games in 5 days, the Colts and the Niners.
All right.
Perfect.